Chris Level here with another edition of Pirate Talk with the head coach of the Lubbock Cooper Pirates. And, not the way we wanted to open up and talk about the way that game ended last week. But, man, great football game. If you're a fan and you're not interested in the outcome, probably are a lot of fun to watch. But just that close.
Yeah, the atmosphere, first of all, is great, and it always is when we play Frenship. And I think it's a great game for West Texas. It's a great game for high school football, and love that part about it. And appreciate our fans and the support that we get. You know, it's neat. We did a lot of our warm up over at our place, and then kind of just showed up and played. We didn't do a whole lot there, so it's kind of neat getting there. And there's already a pretty good crowd when we arrive on the buses, so that's always a neat deal. But yeah, we just you look at film and honestly, we didn't play well enough to win, but yet we were a yard and a half within doing it. And so I think that's a testament to our kids, and we don't play our best game, but still put ourselves in a position to win. And I think we're going to learn a ton from it. We're not happy with it. Kids, coaches, everybody wanted to win it. So there's no moral victories. We don't do that, but it also, I think, is going to make us better down the road.
It equals a 35-34 overtime loss there over in Wolfforth to Frenship. And again, if you look at the stat sheet, without seeing the score, the stat sheet would tell you that you shouldn't even have been in this game in some ways. Mm-hmm. I mean, I looked at total plays, 80-35. I looked at third down conversions. I looked at time of possession. You look at rushing yards. I mean, all the things and yet yard and a half short from winning.
Yep. And a lot of that stuff you're mentioning is us. I mean, the play differential, we got to get off the field on defense. And, again, the game plan was to make them drive it, not let them hit big plays. I thought we executed that well, but then we got to get off the field and then turn around offensively. You open the game with a 3-and-out, open the second half with a 3-and-out. Those were just those things make it where they've got 80 plays, we've got 35, just can't do it. So we've got to be better at some of those areas. But yeah, stat sheet definitely favored them, and still we're right there with it. As proud of our guys for how I think there were a couple situations in the game that maybe it could have got out of hand, and or maybe not even out of hand, but just gotten where we are really playing from behind, and we just kind of kept coming back, kept staying in the game, and gave ourselves a chance to win at the end.
Yeah, and I think obviously you had some kids that made some big plays on offense. I mean, Ryan Rodriguez had a couple of touchdown throws, one to Deaver, one to Jackson Austin. Obviously Jaden Hibbler did a good job as usual. We're going to get used to saying that all year. He almost 100 yards and he had the ball in his hands with the game on the line there at the end. Jake Qualia had a big touchdown run. Take me through, so I don't skip over this. Take me through just the decision, and I totally was in a hotel room in Colorado going, oh, yeah, go. But you decide to go for 2 in the first overtime. Take me through your mindset.
Yeah, I'll tell you, when the coin flip happened, we won the toss in overtime. I think defense is the way to go 99.99% of the time. This was maybe the 0.01% chance of going, man, maybe we should go offense first, just because our defense had just been on the field, got a key stop. I thought that was just a great thing for our defense. When second half didn't go their way, we didn't play our best, and we still got the big stop to put it into overtime. But anyway, decided to go defense, and at that point I'm walking back, kind of our coaches are getting all the guys ready, talking to them, reminding them what overtime looks like, what the process is. And at that point, offensive staff said, if they score and we score, we're going for 2. Like, we knew at that point. I think a lot of people asked, well, since they got the penalty after the touchdown, was that it was decided long before that we would go for 2. And a lot of stuff involved there. But I think one thing is we had 80 snaps to 35. We needed to end it right then, and our goal was to end it with us being on the good side of it. But so that was kind of the decision there. And you mentioned some of the big offensive plays. I think each one that you mentioned there just was significant. The play to Jackson Austin, it was 7-0, and we had punted a couple times. It was just you kind of getting in there going, man, are we gonna start pressing a little bit? And then Jackson makes a huge play. Ryan involved in that as well, and And then I was real impressed with the last one, the Ryan to Deaver. It's fourth down
You
on
had to
on
have
the
it.
10-yard
Yeah.
line. Yeah, and I mean that's one of those that there's some games maybe you kick it and get the field goal there, but we just knew the way the game was going, we needed to go for it. Two really bad play calls by myself leading up to that fourth down play. Just really was disappointed in that, and so just those guys just coming through, a sophomore quarterback in that moment, just on-time throw right to Michael Deaver was great. And then Jake Qualia, walked in the end zone right before half 2 years ago over there. Kind of a turning point in that game as we got stuffed on the same situation down on that end of the field. We got stuffed right before half. So I thought that was a big momentum swing that we got that one in the end zone.
It was Cutter Douglas running Wildcat, yeah, and then the time was running out. And I remember that. I couldn't remember if you had a timeout or had no timeouts left and all that. Yeah, that was typical of this series.
Yep.
Is what that is. In a bulk of these snaps that we're talking about, that your defense is on the field for really came in the third quarter.
Yep.
And that's why I think Coach Lakeman and Coach Reed and that group, they can really feel good about that fourth quarter stand, if you will, to hold them to a field goal attempt. Because if they make that field goal, game's over in regulation. Yet you hold them to a field goal attempt. They missed, I think it was a 36-yarder. But I just thought because Hudson Hutchinson was phenomenal in this game. He was maybe the best player on the field. He just kind of kept figuring it out, didn't make any mistakes. But you finally get a stop there. To your credit, the dam just wouldn't break.
Yep.
You just kept fighting, which I thought is something you can build off of.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a different type of game. That many snaps, but then sometimes you might snap the ball, like you might play that many snaps on defense, but it feels like every snap of those 80, 81, whatever it was, is a high stress, high pressure. If you don't do your job this way, it's 6 for the other team, and that makes it even tougher. But yeah, Hutchinson, I've known his family for a long time. His mom was a Cooper grad, and so known them for a long time. And he's a tough player. Made a lot of good plays, but I think that game again just made us better.
You mentioned something there. The people are you mentally exhausted after that game? Like when you finally do all the things you need to do, and you get back over to your school, and it's time to good night. We're done, and everybody's dismissed and dispersed and everything like that. Are you just mentally gassed? Do people realize?
Yeah, it does take a toll, and you think about if I'm saying that, what our kids are going through at the end of that. So yes, there was you're definitely that way, but at the same time, if you are process oriented and you're about how to get to this point, how to get. It's also all right. It hit zero. What went wrong? How do we get better to where we win it? And it's I think our kids and our coaching staff is that way. We're disappointed. It's not the outcome we wanted, but at the same time, we're looking at next time we're in this situation, how do we come out on top?
You're already trying to fix it. Yeah, coaches age in dog years, I think. This is kind of how it goes typically. It's hard to explain it. It's just a stress that your mind's moving a million different directions, and then finally you just get a chance to decompress, and it's like you're just tired, even though you've been standing there and whatever. So you mentioned that with your kids this week. Did they disappointed but ready to move on? I mean, is there any lingering? I mean, take me through that, and from your standpoint, as you kind of get back into it with them as the week starts.
Yeah, and probably I don't know if it's good or bad that it's Labor Day when we come back, that we don't have school, but I thought we had a really good Labor Day practice. Those I think tell you a lot about your team. One, how we show up. But then two, how we practice on that day when a lot of people are at the lake and enjoying life on Labor Day. They're out doing hard stuff. We're getting a practice and a lift and a scouting report, and it's a full day. And thought we handled that really well. And I think more than anything, what we've seen out of them, they practice well, but they're kind of tired of practicing and they want to get to Friday. I think Friday you just can't get here fast enough for them. So that was good. That was exactly what we wanted to see. That's exactly how we feel as coaches as well.
Defensively, real quick, just to highlight a few guys. I know, Vinny Sipowicz really stuck out to you. I thought he was kind of playing some quarterback in fall camp, but Malik Epps-Keller made a couple of big plays. He doesn't even really know what he's doing yet at corner, but he still made a couple of huge plays. I say that because he's only, I think, been playing it for, a week?
Yeah.
But there was a few guys that I just thought stood out that kind of, if it goes the wrong way,
Sure.
yeah, then it's a different game we're talking about.
Yeah, Vinny and Cal Ritz had a really good game too.
Always.
Cal is he's tackling well. I think that's something that we knew he was going to do this year. That maybe hasn't been his strong point, but he's doing a good job there. They make some plays, and the other one with Malik. I mean, Malik he had a great game, especially for the limited reps he's gotten at corner. But Cole Katara doesn't get a lot of credit sometimes on. And we kind of asked them to really be physical with the Frenship receivers, which is it's hard to do when you're worried about getting beat over the top. And I thought we were real physical. We disrupted some timing, and Cole's always been that. And he, your corners are being pretty physical when they get an offsides penalty. They're ready for a little contact. So he thought he had a good game that doesn't show up in the stat sheet.
Yeah, and I think in some ways it does, because I think that those Frenship receivers didn't have the numbers that they were used to having either. But anyway, their QB was really good. But you move on. Okay, so now you get an opponent that I remember this game last year. Abilene Wylie will be at Pirate Stadium, First United Park, I guess Friday night, 7:00. This is a game that was a barn burner last year. Feels like the game that we just sat here and talked about.
Yeah.
But a year ago, I think you win that one 33-28, and it was a weird game. I'll let you kind of, because I mean, right out of the gate, it's just boom, 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 and I think you needed a kick return to kind of get back in it before you got momentum.
They went through a transition last year, kind of changed some offensive coaching staff, and they kind of changed honestly how they do things. And we saw it on film a little bit, but sometimes film doesn't tell you about the pace and how fast somebody's playing. And they came out, they got the ball, and I think it was 3 plays, and there was like 11:20 on that clock, and it was 7-0 Wylie. I mean, just we hadn't even had time to strap it on yet, and all of a sudden, bam, it's 7-0. But then we return the kickoff for a touchdown, so there's 11:10 on the clock, and it's 7-7, and we're starting over. But I think that's the deal, that it's a different offense. They kind of have a different philosophy. They play fast. We've seen that. We've prepped for it, and I think our kids are ready for it. I think some of the stuff like we've mentioned several times about our defensive staff and some of the terminology stuff and some of the things that we've done over the offseason helps us to play fast, helps us to get lined up, and some easy one-word calls that tell everybody what to do, I think, have helped. So we're ready for it, but they are different. And just like you said last year, we were in different situations, and I think we had gotten better from the 2 weeks before, and we were able to finish a game and finish it strong, and that's kind of how we did at their place. But expecting a battle. They're good. They're too well coached. They're a growing school. They're kind of going through what we've gone through. So they've got a lot of kids playing football, and we know we're expecting a tough test.
Yeah, Clay Martin, the head coach, and I think Clark Harrell was on that offense. Is he still?
He's a quarterback's coach.
Yeah, there you go. So, they run a little of that tempo, that Graham Harrell's younger brother. Okay, and they've been playing a couple different quarterbacks. How does that change how you practice for them defensively? Do they switch up what they do depending on who's at quarterback?
Yeah, that's the one thing that makes it a little easier. They're not, it's not just a quarterback comes in and runs it all the time and the other one throws it.
Okay.
They're running very similar stuff when they're both in. So we feel like we know who's probably going to play majority of the snaps just based on film, but it didn't change a whole lot of how we're practicing.
This is an 0-2 Wylie team. They're not, and again, they lost to Brownwood and I think to Monterey. They've put up 21 points in each of those games, but again, it doesn't really tell the whole story about who they are, because you're expecting them to be. They are typically very, very good.
Yep.
So you expect them to come in desperate, and you probably have to tell your kids, expect them to be scratching and clawing and fighting to get a win.
Absolutely. Brownwood's a top 10 team in 4A Division I, and then Monterey, everybody will see how good a football they're playing right now, and they're doing they've changed some stuff up, running some 12 personnel, 2 tight end stuff that they're making it. They're playing some good footballs. I'll put it that way. So nothing to hang their heads on. Be upset about being 0-2. Nobody wants to be there, but it's not because they're playing bad. So they've got some explosive guys. The Regala, he's a slot receiver that really good on the baseball diamond as well, and so our kids know who he is and how he
Track
runs.
stud too.
Yeah, him and Cal have had some great 100-meter dash the last few years. So they're talented, they're well coached, and you know that they're going to come in here ready to play.
Yeah, they actually played a playoff baseball game here last year because Regala was running in a track meet.
That's right.
Here. And I think they could have hosted that baseball game, but they wanted it up here, so the young man could do both.
Yep.
And that just goes to show you how he wears number 8 for the Bulldogs. And he's, honestly, he's one of the better skill guys that he may have gotten dinged up last week, but if he plays, he's one of the better skill guys you may see all season.
Oh yeah, he's that good.
Yeah.
He makes a play. We saw him film against I think it was Monterey. They throw an interception against Monterey, and it looks like a pick six right off the bat, and he makes up ground and turns that not into a pick six in a hurry because he eats that guy up. He can just flat out run.
So, and I know, glad to be back at home. You've got some guys dinged up and some different things. This is just part of the sport, having to shuffle some things around in your defensive line and all that stuff. But that's just kind of next man up. So I know you're glad to be back at home. And what does it next week look like? Do you plan ahead at all, or are you solely focused on the Friday night because you've got a short week next week? Is it just one less day next week, or do you do different things over the weekend based on how this game goes?
Yeah, we won't really change much. The practice will look a little bit different for the guys just because we've got to try to squeeze in some time. So hopefully, knock on wood, that cool weather that it looks like is going to help us out. We don't want to. We've been really short on practices, trying to stay out of the heat as much as we can. So we may go a little bit longer, but other than that, it's business as usual. And luckily, we've played Ryder so many times the last few years that I think we could probably swap game plans, and we already knew exactly what each is going to do.
So that's it. And I'm not trying to do that, not look past Wylie, but again, it's a short week next week. You're going to play on Thursday nights. Again, it'll be the last ever game between the Pirates and Ride on Honorable One. Did I have that right? Rojo. Yeah. That's right. So with Wichita Falls doing some different things with their high schools and consolidating, I guess it would be. Okay, so 7 o'clock, First United Park, Friday night. Please be there, be loud, and be there early and all that stuff. It'd be a good time for everybody. I think the weather will cooperate by kickoff 7 o'clock Friday night. Yeah, because I'm tired of this. It's September now.
Yep.
It's 105, 104 degree mess. It's like, come on, man. Yep. Uncle, who do we?
I feel bad, and then I remember that kids are practicing in pads and stuff. I'm like, man,
and you just get used to it. Obviously it makes
brutal.
you tougher, but you just get used to it. But I don't know how.
Yeah,
I don't know how. Okay. I asked you a nickname question on the show last week, best nickname on the team, and and there's one that you left out.
Yeah, I got in trouble.
Chastised,
on this one. Yes, I did.
Okay.
So Branson Carlisle, and if you notice him, he's switched positions. He was a quarterback to safety to linebacker, and now settled in at running back. But he is known in the program as the Flying Chonk.
You're gonna have to explain that.
Yeah, just there was a time when he was bulked up a little bit, but then all of a sudden he's pretty fast, and I think maybe Coach Bacchus, I can't remember who gave him that, but the Flying Chonk, Branson Carlisle. If you see him running on Friday, you can go ahead and refer to him as that.
Well, in that opener versus Dumas, he certainly was flying or doing something. He got down the field in a hurry. It looked like a track kid.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looked like. It was fun to meet him.
Coach Ramby might have something to do with that nickname too.
Okay.
It might have had something to do with track as well.
Oh, Rambo. Yeah, there you go. Okay, now on the spot. Here's your one.
Putting you on the spot
We do these three things. Your three favorite former Cooper athletes that did not play football. I don't know
that I can answer
And I know
that,
you love all your children equally, but that you didn't coach, but just three memories.
That did not play.
They weren't football. They weren't football players. Just like, is there three you could stick out? Man, I love watching this girl run, this guy hoop, this kid. Like Timothy Haynes, he's not a former one, but he doesn't play football anymore, but I love watching that kid.
Yeah. Well, there's I used to be the head girls track coach. So before I was the head football coach, and I love my days coaching track. I tell guys stories a whole lot about Holly Wyndham, who a lot of people will know that name, and her husband. She's now Holly Rhodes. Brennan Rhodes is our safeties coach, and she was just a great athlete. She did things the right way. Went to state 3 years in a row in track. She was pretty fun to watch.
Okay.
And, she
See, this is what I wanted. I love
she was
this.
So disciplined about everything that she did. She was a pretty impressive athlete. So she would be one. There's some basketballers that I really enjoyed. You know, I did coach a little basketball as well, but there was a group, Garrett Taylor, Brennan Ehlers. So
Okay.
Garrett Taylor is Austin Taylor's brother. Brennan Ehlers is Paul Ehlers' son. So got some connection there. There was that group, that team was a really fun team to be around. So I could kind of pick some of those guys that were pretty fun. And then shoot, I don't know, you might stump me on the last one. There was a kid named Jarrell Shepard that he did play football, but he did. That wasn't his deal. His deal was track, but he went to state in track, and that was some of my first years here. I think I was even a middle school coach, but I remember going to those track meets and watching him run the 100, which his record's now been broken by Cal and Jarrell Shaw before that. But that was fun to watch. Kind of got me really into track and wanting to be a part of that.
There's a kid that's playing for you now in the secondary, Carter Gentry, and his middle school track meets were like a bit legendary.
Yes.
I mean, it was like I'd stay around, and like my kid is in 7th grade, I'd stay around and watch the 8th grade deal just to go out and watch this Gentry run. I mean, Carter he could scoot.
He had a good game the other night too. He played well.
He did have a good game, very physical.
Are you ready for your trivia now?
Hold on. I got one more. I got one more. Maybe two more. 3 favorite words. I thought this would be a fun one. 3 favorite words in your playbook that stick out to you, because you guys have all kinds of. You don't have to tell us what they mean.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need to know what they mean or whatever. But is there 3 things? Because football playbooks is fascinating, and they all kind of mean something. It's trying to tell you direction or whatever based on. But I always get a kick out of how you come up with stuff. But do you have 3 words that stick out?
Sure. Dubai. Is a play.
Okay.
It's a concept that we've got. It's a new one. We got that from University of Kansas when we went up there and talked to them. That was
Dubai.
One.
Okay.
And the only reason we call it that is because that's what Kansas called it.
Okay.
I don't know why. They did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One, we run some triple option stuff, and I don't think I'm giving any secrets here, but sometimes when we want to tag a triple option to something, we call it blackjack because we're dealing it. Right. That makes a little bit of sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, let me see. And then maybe some of I'm trying to think, on defense, I always think it's good sometimes when we do certain stuff with our D-line, we call it punch.
Okay.
But, I mean, I think that's pretty normal.
Okay.
But,
okay.
Yeah,
I just think I always get a kick out of, because, I mean, like NFL plays, there's 36 words in one of those plays, and it all means something to somebody, but I'm like, I don't even know how
and we've got some of those. I don't know that I'll get into all that exactly what they all are, but we've got some that are very, very long, and but each tells each person what to do.
Last one. 3 things that scare you.
Now or
just in general.
Yeah, I mean, I could.
And don't say like
right. I could get real deep. I'm not.
You
gonna
don't
do that.
You don't need to do that.
Aliens, UFO stuff. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Okay.
I would say I'm not, like, my brother is so scared of spiders, it's ridiculous. But I am.
I'm not shocked about that,
yeah,
Matt.
I am
not
cautious.
shocked.
I am cautious about that. I'm not much of a fan. And just a generic, the unknown. I know I mentioned it in one podcast, like the ocean, how much the ocean has been explored in space.
I think that all I hear you saying is unknown.
Yeah,
it's just total mystery.
I'm not a fan.
I kind of like to know what's around the corner or what's
100%. I'm
below
a planer.
the surface.
I'm a planer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Simpatico there. Same page, you and I. Okay, what?
All right, season. I'm giving you 2.
I'll mess this up.
Season all-purpose yards. Who in Cooper history, the single season all-purpose yards, who it is and about how many.
Nehemiah Martinez when he was on the JV team that year.
That is 100% accurate. he would kick off and go make the tackle at like the 5-yard line. But it is Nehemiah Martinez,
Okay.
his senior year.
See, and I almost wondered if there was too much competition there between
Yeah.
him and Isaiah and all those guys.
And it was around 18,
okay.
around 1,800 yards.
He did everything.
Yeah,
I mean, he did everything. Okay.
And then the other question I got for you, it's on I gave you a hint on the goal on the board, but who is the all-time coach, all-time wins at Lubbock Cooper? Number of wins is what I'm talking about.
I won't know if it's not Coach Wyndham or Coach
That's
Catwinkle.
it. John Wyndham.
Okay, Coach
yeah,
Wyndham.
Coach
okay.
Wyndham. And I
I thought it was a trick question.
No, I want to say it's around 90. John Wyndham,
Okay.
somewhere around there, and Coach Wyndham, Max, and then Pete Hurst is a old-time coach in the 70s. They all have 3 district championships that they tie for the record there.
Okay.
Thought that was just kind of interesting.
Yeah,
We got a board
absolutely.
there in the field house. You need to come check it. If you hadn't seen it, come check it out. It's neat. It's got all the seasons and coaches. on
And then
the
it's
board.
got all your guys that are playing in college.
Yep.
There's a different board, I think, that's got all the guys in college because it's quite a lot of tradition.
Yeah.
With this bad boy right here, so it's been fun. Well, man, I enjoyed it. These are when you don't win a game, it's kind of tough to come back and relive it. But I thought we did good here, and looking forward to the next one, man. You got 2 football games in the span of 6 days?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, boom, boom. So
And last thing, and I think I mentioned it, but appreciate the fans. Like they made the atmosphere a whole lot of fun, and we know it's going to be the same at home. We always have a good crowd, so. But just appreciate the fans being there and supporting the guys, and we'll try to get on the winning side this week.
these 2 stadiums, when this game is played, these 2 stadiums really can't hold all the people.
Yep.
I mean, that's what it's about. That's why it's been at Jones AT&T Stadium on a couple of occasions, I think. So, anyway, okay, Friday night, 7:00, First United Bank Park, Abilene, Wylie, the Bulldogs coming to town. Please be there. These guys will be ready to go, and we'll see you there. For Coach Darden, this is Chris Level, from my man Colton Coons behind the camera that made this whole thing possible.
Nice.
We appreciate it. It is nice. We're like, we got new digs here. It's awesome. But this has been another edition of Pirate Talk.